a lesson worth learning and integrating into your life. Always preserve your dignity. I don't care what you're facing. I don't care how triggered you are. I don't care how driven or compelled you may be. What we can't be doing is desperately clinging to a false narrative to make ourselves feel like something is what it isn't, or like be just sort of seeking information. But it would suggest in sort of a, I feel like that's probably more so behind you, because it seems like you're sort of opening up. Because on your mind, you have the Wheel of Fortune. So, I think that you're well aware that you're sort of tossed into the wind here. So things are gonna flow how they will. Behind you, there's all this defensiveness and stuck kind of energy, maybe some petty behavior, maybe some, insecure bullshit. But when you can look within and find it in yourself to see outside of your narrow, selfish perspective, right? It gives you a greater insight onto the world. And sometimes releasing things can be painful. Sometimes we make mistakes that we suffer long-term repercussions from. That can vary from degree to degree. If you're going away for something for several years, I could see being a bit pessimistic about that, you know what I'm saying? But what I mean is, like, let's say you're parting from a longtime friend, or you're disconnecting from something, or there's this massive change. But it would be sort of foundational, it would be very meaningful. And at first that can be really painful, right? But if we can find compassion within ourselves in the truest sense, we can be happy for people going in their own direction, people growing as into their own, people evolving. And it's our choice whether to wallow in despair or heal or handle it accordingly, depending on whatever your circumstances are. And it seems like you're at this very pivotal moment. I may have not said that. I don't give a shit. Judge me. It's this, you're starting a whole new chapter in a lot of ways, and you maybe don't know what that looks like. You may also get very busy, by the way. I think that all this will be fine. There's this sense of elevation about it. There's this sense of progress about it. It's sort of like a truth that's maybe hard to accept, but worth embracing. I do want to take a moment to promote my Patreon. That is where all the extended versions of these readings go, as well as other exclusive content and monthly art prints. And it is a great way to support me as an independent artist and creative. If you want to work with me on a one-on-one level, I do have options available for personal readings on my shop, as well as artwork. There could be some financial gain, and there could be things worth celebrating. There could be some stability, but ultimately there is pain. You got these 3 swords right in the fucking heart, unless that's just someone around you. But, sometimes it's worth embracing those experiences. Sometimes all you can do is lean into them and say, this is hard. This is, painful, this is sad, or even our less honorable traits like jealousy or anything like that, or being controlling. I don't care what you say, we all have traits that are not pleasant. Everybody has the capability to be awful, in fact. But when those things, we have to look at those and address them and actively convert them. Because if we don't, you know, it's so interesting if you really think about it, okay? There's only a few circumstances that really have to happen to send a person overboard in their psychology to commit horrible acts. You know, which I think is very easy to see in the modern day's world with school things, and even if we look at the wars. I don't want to say too much because I don't want the video to get like taken down or whatever, but you guys all know what I'm talking about. Everything that's happening. And you know, even if we look at history, you know, the people who ran concentration camps, right? They all thought they were behind something honorable. They believed in what they were doing. So everybody, and I'm not suggesting there's anything like that horrible in this reading. I'm just saying that accept it. You have traits that are undesirable and even horrific that are in your psyche somewhere. And if we can't accept that, and we can't look at those things, and we can't navigate our way through our jealousy or violence or envy or fear or any of that stuff, it's not properly worked through, and it's not properly, I don't know if you guys can hear that or whatever. It's not properly transformed, it's just muted. Anyway, so take that to a more like normal scale of like, if you're being a jealous piece of shit, or if you're fearful, or if you're in conflict or whatever, deal with it appropriately. God, dude, I go on like some of the weirdest left field tangents, I feel like, because there was no reason to go that like in depth with it. I feel like, I don't know, whatever, maybe you got something out there. I feel like maybe someone could have moved on fast or something. Or, you know, I feel like you kind of sense this falsehood to some extent. And, you know, it could even be demonstrated out of a sense of compassion, like someone trying to be nice. Or maybe you're debating if that is the case. Because I don't know, there's sort of an uncertainty in this, but I'll tell you this, the Tower comes with a judgment of some kind. But you'll find your way through, and there's you can't hold on to what isn't meant to be held. Like, sometimes you have to let things or people or whatever it is, you know, move on or do whatever they want to do, even if that's something that's maybe even unfavorable for you. Sometimes we just have to accept life as it is, which is very up and down, and all kinds of unexpected things can occur. This is a weird night for me. Sorry if this is a weird reading. And you know, here's the thing too. Look, don't be so fast in assumptions. You know, because sometimes we can get an idea in our head of what someone is thinking or doing or feeling, and you may choose a whole line of actions that shouldn't have happened because you let your imagination run wild, or you couldn't fucking contain yourself enough to just sit and think for a minute and let things kind of reveal themselves. That can get you in problems, and I imagine it has. I'm going to take this over to the extended version on my Patreon, so if you all would like to join me there, feel free. If not, I hope you all have a lovely evening.